anybody got to say anything, you let me know.
That's the most excellent idea, sire. Is it?
And you taught him what he needed to be a man. I'll give you that, because most men ain't man enough to do what you did.
You reached the Kicking It with KC show. You reach another episode of the Kicking It with KC show. Today we have a real treat. We have one of my Morehouse brothers, Kofi Ford, on, and he actually has a lot of information to share with you on being able to transform your life and live by great principles and guidelines. He is an entrepreneur. He's actually a motivational speaker. He's a life coach, corporate coach, and many other hats that he wears. So without further ado, let's get into this.
So this is KC with the Kicking It with KC show. I got my man Kofi Ford here online. What's the name of the company you with there, Kofi?
So we actually have three different companies. We've got our consulting company, which is KT Consulting Group. We've got our real estate company, which is KT Home Savers. And we also have our marketing wing, which is Upward Momentum Group. One of the things that, I've got three different businesses that I operate. And one of them, we actually have a wellness line. So one of the things that I've been very interested for myself, I used to run track in high school. And since then, of course, I kind of ended that and just kind of tell stories of how great I was in high school, kind of like a lot of other guys do. But the stories don't keep you in shape.
Right.
You can talk about them as much as you want to and you relive the glory days, but when you look down at your abdominal section, you notice you don't necessarily see your abdominal muscles anymore. So I really, not necessarily to the point of getting my ab muscles back and having the rock solid abs anymore, but I've got a 4-year-old son now.
Okay.
And here I am, 42 years old, and I look at how much he's into running around and being active in the household. And I'm thinking down the road, gosh, when this kid is in high school, I'm going to be, in retirement age. So what am I going to do now to start preparing myself for where I need to be in terms of overall wellness? So, we have a 55-day challenge anyway that we do. I figure why not kind of take that for myself and apply it to just my overall wellness. So what I want to do every day to get myself not in shape to go back and run around a track and set world records or anything like that, but just live a healthier lifestyle. So kind of to keep myself accountable to that, I figured if I recorded a video and told everybody in my social space what I was going to do, and I committed to them that I was going to record a video and I was going to work out every single day for 55 days. Would that help me? And of course, the resounding answer is yes, because the last thing that anybody I think wants is to have the people that they know, love, trust, folks who even potentially look up to them or people that they look up to, see that they made a promise and then they don't hold to it and then they have to suffer the backlash for it. So that's kind of where it all came from. I really just wanted to live healthy and have a good quality of life, especially as I get older. And this is kind of a way to kickstart that by doing 55 days straight exercise, eating right, and putting it out there on social media to have everybody hold me accountable and call me on the carpet if I don't do what I said I was going to do.
Okay. Yeah, so you're very busy there, man. I see you have wellness in a lot of areas there. not just physical wellness, but financial wellness, and I guess some motivational, spiritual wellness, and everything else. Looks like.
Yeah, we are very much into multiple streams of income. I heard from a mentor many years ago that all your eggs should never be in one basket,
right.
And that includes income. So we try to, as much as possible, not just in our own lives, but share with others. That they should not just have the job that pays the bills, but they should have something, especially in light of the fact that we just went through this huge recession. They should have something that comes up and doesn't allow the money to stop in case they lose with their plan A.
Okay. All right, that makes sense there. So let me get your beginnings here. Now, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from. I was born and raised in Washington D.C. area. Literally born in Southeast D.C. Lived there for. I lived there until kindergarten. Then we moved into Maryland. Kind of getting away from the city life, so to speak, and moving into the suburbs. I think anybody who's familiar with D.C. or the history kind of know why we would do that. But lived in multiple areas of Maryland until I was 18, and then I transitioned, kind of like you, in your story, transitioned down to Atlanta,
right.
And I went to Morehouse College. We all have a path.
Are you still out here in Atlanta?
Yeah, I literally tried to leave after graduation, went back to Maryland, and I think it lasted for 2 months before I made my way back down here. Kind of penniless, had a couple credit cards, had my car and some clothes in the back, and slept on some friends' floors until I made it.
Wow.
Until I got a job and could make some money, yeah. So it's been since 1995. I think I got back down here in June or July of 1995. Been here ever since.
Wow. And we're kicking it here with Kofi on the Kicking It with KC show. And let me ask you this here. So what did you study in Morehouse?
I was a math major.
Okay. So you were in math, and you kind of like me. I was a finance major. But I didn't take a job in finance. I'm actually in IT. So we might have similar paths there.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, so you found your niche. I see you got, like you said, multiple streams of entrepreneurship going on as well. Are you solely run your own company now?
Yeah.
On your own, you took that leap of faith of going out there and making that happen, huh?
Man, I still remember my last day in the office place of my last employer, September 24th, 2014.
Okay.
Because right after that, I went to Vegas. Literally that night, jumped on the plane and went to Vegas. But I've been in corporate America since October '95 through 2014, pretty much. I tried the real estate investing at one point, did 2 years of that, kind of in between my corporate career. But I've been in consulting, did pension work, but mostly working with clients and administering pension plans, different layers of management. I got to the point where with a lot of people, you kind of think you made it. You get a certain income level, and they say, "Oh, you're in the top, X number of percent of income earners in the United States." You're like, "Yeah, I made it."
Right.
And you like, man, that's just numbers. Because I started looking at, I got 3 boys, and one's in college now at Howard University, and we can talk about how he got to Howard instead of Morehouse, and I guess another conversation. But I started to look at my household, and even though I'm making 6 figures, and my wife's got a very comfortable income, and we're supposedly together, we're in this nice ratio. Like, man, well, we still have debt up to our eyeballs.
Right.
And we still have worries on how we're going to make sure the kids go to college if they don't get scholarships.
Right.
How do we make sure month to month, all the bills are paid, and we can still have a nice vacation? And God, we want to retire one day. How do we make sure we're doing that? Because we got to take care of, the money's going to the day-to-day lifestyle. And I know a lot of people can relate to that, and it's like, man, what do you do? You get to that point, it's like, man, how can I get out of this rat race? Because all I'm doing is waking up every day and repeating the same process that allows me to trade some time to get some money to pay some bills, to cover, the likes and things that I need. on a day-to-day basis. And
Right.
you really, if you really ever take the time, you start to notice, like, man, I'm living month to month. And what quality of life is this? You know, is this what I wanted to do when I was a kid? Did I dream of growing up and getting a scholarship to Morehouse and graduating with a great degree and then going and working in a cubicle?
Yes.
Man, I just didn't. That didn't really resonate with me when I really started to look at it, and I had to ask myself the question on whether or not I wanted that to be my life. You know, and I talk to people now. It's like, man, you know, I read a book, another book by Miles Monroe that had an impact on me. And he made this statement. He said that one of the saddest places that exist is the graveyard. He said, not because of, you know, people losing relationships and you know, the fact that they won't get to see people that they spend time with every day. It's not that. It's because buried with all those individuals are dreams that were never realized.
Never realized. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Dreams
like,
left.
man,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's rough. It's like, whoa, I read it. I was like, man, is that what I want? Do I want on my tombstone, on my headstone, do I want it to say, here lies Kofi Ford, you know, date range, he was a hard worker? Oh, man, nah. There's a scripture in the Bible that says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So am I in position to do that? Is what I'm doing right now going to put me in a position to be able to do something for my grandchildren?
Wow.
And then you ask yourself those tough questions, then you should, you know, do a reality check. And you have to decide whether or not you're going to continue on the same path or try to do something different. And that's what happened.
Wow. So that last day of leaving corporate America and going into your ventures, you finally took that step off into the ledge and just said, "Hey, I'm going to make this." You actually paved it. Then let me ask you, did you have, because it's always hard when it goes into entrepreneurship, from working a safe, cushy corporate job where you're answering to the people getting other people wealthy. So once you make that plunge and you feel like you know that you can take that step, which may not feel necessarily warm and comfortable to you, but you find out once you get in there that you're able to float and soar and make it. How was that for you?
Man, well, the good thing is, you know, we didn't kind of just go cold turkey and go from plan A to plan B. We started plan B while plan A was paying the bills.
Yes.
You know,
okay.
So,
okay. That's the best way to do it. Yep.
Yeah, it was. You know, we got to put in the hours for the job. You know, because it takes care of the day to day. Not going to mess with that. Right. And we started working on the side. You know, after hours, spending time late at night, waking up earlier in the morning, using weekend time that's available. So we just sacrificed TV. You know, fortunately, they created this phenomenal invention called the DVR, which takes care of the fact that you're going to miss a show. We just made sure we didn't talk to anybody, you know, when we got back into work. Say, whoa, hold on, we'll talk about that. I haven't watched it yet.
Right.
That gave us so much time. You know, it's so funny. Everybody knows how many hours are in a day. But if you ask somebody how many hours in a week, they can't answer that question. You know, it's great to see people's, you know, faces when you ask them that. And then you start to ask them, you know, beyond that, how much time do you actually spend every single week doing the things that you want to do? And I'm not talking about TV time, because that kills so much time, right? But how much time do you really have available, if you use it, to start doing something that's for you, for your family, for your children, for their next generation? How much time do you really have available? And that's what we started to look at. So there's so many hours out there. Even if you get 8 hours of sleep every night, you know, there's still so much time available to you to start doing something else.
Right.
And we started to do that. But, you know, when that day happened, there was a lot of excitement. You know, like I said, I went out to Vegas and had a great time out in Vegas. I had a few friends, and we celebrated, you know, while I was out there. and then life started, right? You back and we've got the paperwork, we're already incorporated, we start doing work now. There's no question. There's some scary times. And
right.
Absolutely nerve-wracking. Absolutely nerve-wracking. And sometimes you don't know what the heck is going to happen, how you're going to do it. And what you have to understand at that point in time, there is, unfortunately, everywhere you go, another person with you. And that other is not another individual separate from you. It's actually you. You've got that person that has been with you all these years with all this negative baggage in you. And every time you say, I'm going to do this great thing, that other person says you can't do it. You're not smart enough. You're not the right skin complexion. You don't have the right people to help you out. You don't have the finances in place. I mean, there's so many negative things that person says to you. And we actually, fortunately, had some great information. I read a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And in there, it talks about affirmations, some other stuff, and I guess it's kind of moving to the spiritual side of things. But it really talks to the fact that you can actually change the way you think and feel about yourself. Because really, in the end, the biggest challenge you will ever face in your life is not the man. It's not the bank trying to keep you from getting money. It's not the system. It's really your own thoughts. Because before you do anything else, you've got to believe in yourself first. And you know about this. I mean, the fact that here you have this podcast that you're doing, I'm sure many times you had, even before the external factors, you may have had to overcome the mindset or the thought that came into your mind that said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? How are people going to follow you? All these other crazy thoughts that came in to prevent you from moving forward. And then what you start to realize once you take that first step, it's not about making $1 million today. That has nothing to do with it. What we know is where we are now and where we want to go. And in between is one step at a time that we have to take. And if we focus more on the individual steps that we take, over time, what we end up doing is realizing, man, I'm a mile further down the road than I was before. Man, let me keep focusing on these steps. Oh, shoot, I've now gone through a marathon distance. That's taking one step at a time. And continuing that same process, you're learning things about yourself.
Yes.
Changing. You're becoming now the person that you need to be in order to accomplish the things that you wanted to accomplish in the outset. But that journey has to take place, and it's got to happen and really come about over time. I love to tell my kids that when they get on this roller coaster, right? When you get on that, when you go through the line and you sit down in the roller coaster, and what you know is this is where I get on, and you know as well I'm going to get off at the same spot, right?
Right.
But I don't know what sensation I'm going to feel. I'm excited about it, right? I'm excited about this journey, but I have no idea exactly what's going to happen.
Right.
But I still get on there. Why? It's the journey, and it's not the end. We're not excited about getting off the ride. We're excited about the ride itself, and that's what this whole process is. That's what you're going through. That's what I'm going through. It's all about the process of getting there. And many people, I think, unfortunately, are so focused on the end result, they miss the fact that it's about the journey itself. And that's kind of what it's been for us.
All right. So, thinking about what you said here with this feeling, you were actually explaining the roller coaster and on to the ride, and that's basically what it is, just getting out there and doing it. That's where we're at. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, that's the challenge, because most people give up before they start, unfortunately. And I know, I just know that we all have these dreams, right? And the fact that they aren't given to you, like you don't go through school and they give you a sheet of paper that says, all right, your dream in life is to do this. We come up with these on our own.
Right.
You go to bed at night and you think about, you dream about something. You walk through your day-to-day life and there's something you just can't get out your mind that you want to do. So to me, that's just proof that it's given from God for you to do it, right? But the challenge, again, goes back to all the stuff that was put into us over the years to prevent us from being able to accomplish it, to challenge our minds, to keep us from going through it. The roller coaster is great. Now, in real world, I keep saying roller coasters. You're not going to see me get on one. I'll sit out there and I'll watch them, but I don't get on them. But that's just what life is. But every day is a roller coaster. In the end, even if people are working a job every day, and I'm not knocking the job. I was there in corporate America for years and years and years, and you can do some great things in the job. My point is, don't quit on your dreams, because everybody can live a better quality of life. I think in the end, just like you go outside and if you plant a seed, that tree is going to grow out the ground and get taller and taller and taller. Everything in nature grows over time, and we all know when that stops. When any plant stops growing, it's dead, and that's kind of like how we are as well. And we don't necessarily drop to the ground, but we kind of die a little bit more on the inside. And my point to people is the job should never kill who we are on the inside in terms of pursuing our passion in life. And I think that there's so many people, and I was one of them, if I understand this, there's so many people who go through day to day and they have that burning desire on the inside for more. More in life. Whether it's a nicer house or it's making sure they can retire and not work at Walmart, when they hit in their 60s.
Right.
Making sure the kids go to school, having a certain zip code, whatever the case is, a better quality of vacation. Just having money at the end of the month after all the bills are paid, to keep it that simple. I think everybody has that in themselves. So the question is, what keeps you from going out and doing that? And some people are afraid. Some people are afraid of leaving the job. Some people are afraid because they don't think they have it in them. Well, the truth is they do, right? Everybody has it in them to do it. And the truth is that, the fear is unfounded. We know that once we get out there. So the responsibility is to, one, tell people, yeah, you can. You can do it. You can live a better quality of life. You can live in a higher tax bracket and take advantage of all the other tax loopholes that all these leaders, who are trying to tell you what to do every day in government are doing. You can do the same stuff. We don't have to buy into the limitations that everybody else gives us. That's really what this thing is all about. Even getting back to what we were talking about with the workout, I think it's all the same. I still believe I can be in shape. I can make right decisions on what I put into my body and what I don't put into my body. I'm not perfect at it, but I'm a work in progress, and I'm taking one step at a time. And the great thing is, with each of those videos that I record and put out there, people can see my face and whether or not my face is getting fatter or if it's shrinking. They'll see the slope in my shoulders. I don't think my wife will ever get to the point where she's like, go ahead and take an ad photo or video and show that on the web. I don't think she'll get to that point, but I think people will still be able to see the changes that are happening in my physical appearance.
Right.
And everything else, that we were talking about, is just intro. You can't see it necessarily, but my actions will show.
So, yeah, man, it's good information. It's just saying that.
Awesome. Yeah, and again, I appreciate the time. In the end, when you come down to it, when I look at, the exercise thing, I know that's kind of how we got to going into even having the conversation. But just how the exercise and the videos that are coming out every day on doing that, and the whole goal of really using the social media platform to hold myself accountable. It's the same thing when you translate over into pursuing your goals in any other area, right? Here I am just looking at 55 days continuous exercise to get myself into shape, live a better life and eat healthy, so I can be there for my kids later on. Well, you translate that over into someone who wants to, let's say this year they want to earn, six-figure income, or they want to get out of debt, or they want to, pay off the car, they want to pay off the mortgage, whatever the case may be. Spend more time with family, invest with their spouse, in terms of time, and show that person that you truly care and love them more than anything else in the world, whatever those things are. Right. The whole idea behind, these daily videos was, how do I ensure that I do what I said I'm going to do, at least until I build the habit up, right? Because it's, common said that 3 weeks before you actually build a habit up. So how do I get myself motivated every day? How do I make sure that I don't slack off on what I said I was going to do? And for me, it was, gosh, there's nothing I would hate more than anything else than for someone I know to say, hey, you said you were going to do this, but I didn't see your video out there today. What happened? Right. Because your friends and family, if anybody else, it's going to be your friends and family who call you out.
So accountability right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that accountability is no joke. So that's where the video came in. And if people can do that, this is just kind of an example, but if people can do that in every area for the goals that they set for themselves, if they're setting their goals out before their eyes and they look at them every single day, like you come in my house and you'll see a vision board over top of our fireplace. It's not going to be, one of these nice art pieces. All that's down. We got a vision board up there that says all the things that we are pursuing to make sure that we knock out, for this year, for the next 3 months, for the next 3 years, next 5 years. We have long range goals out there even that we see every single day. And you bring it down, I've got my workouts written on the calendar on my wall that shows every single day what I'm going to be doing. So it's very easy for my mind then to grab hold of that and understand that every day I've got something I've got to do. And if we do that with every other goal, and we understand the activities that need to happen every single day, if it's a matter of I need to make 10 phone calls today, or I need to get 10 people to tell me no if I'm trying to sell something today, or if my goal is, hey, I'm going to block out 1 hour from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock with my wife tonight just to hear about her day, just to talk to her about what was exciting about her day and to listen intently. So I'm putting down the phone. I'm not going to watch the TV. I'm going to literally just listen to her. And that's an investment in us for the future. And whatever the case is, that you broaden that out to every single thing that you have, and you walk those activities out every single day. And I may have said it already, but, that whole process of taking one step at a time, not looking at the end goal all the time and focusing on that. But, I don't know if you're a bowler or not, Kesey, but, when you go bowling, you get the 10 pins all the way at the end of the lane, right? The goal is to knock all 10 of them down.
Right.
But when you actually take, your stance and you start pursuing that or moving down the lane to throw your ball, you don't actually look at the pins. You find your way back to a mark on the floor. And you say, if I can put this ball on that mark and I do the same arm movement and the same spin every single time, I'm going to hit the pins in the perfect spot to get a strike. All I got to do is hit my mark. So my mark is much closer to me. So I've taken that big goal and I brought it down to a goal that's much closer to me that I can accomplish. And I pursue that one. and then I pursue another one that's close to me, and another one that's close to me. And now I'm taking a step and another step and another step, and eventually that ball is moving down that lane. Guess what? It's going to reach the pin.
Wow.
And if I hit every single goal along the way, I'm going to reach my goal and hit the strike.
Wow.
And that's the way this thing is, man. And so, I'm 55 days, pursuing this goal of 55 days, but here I am, I think it's on day 28 today, of 55 days going towards that. And I know I hit 28. I don't celebrate that. I hit 29, I give myself a pat on the back, but, when I get to 44, I'll be happier. When I get to 55, I can actually celebrate. But then it's going to be what's next, right?
Right.
It's what's next. It's going to be what's next. And that's the way we all are. We simply have to break them down, move them closer to ourselves, and accomplish the little goals, take the little steps along the way. And next thing you know, you look up, you arrive to your destination. That's what this is about.
Oh man, that's excellent. Kofi, how do people get in touch with you? What's your social media and website?
Yeah, there are a few ways. We actually have been developing some things behind the scenes for a while. So, we've got in terms of reaching me personally, my personal website is KofiFordOnline.com. That's my name, Kofi, K-O-F as in Frank, I-F-O-R-D, like the car, Ford, online.com.
Okay.
And then, of course, we've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. For each one of those, it's just my name. So it's Facebook.com/Kofi Ford, Instagram.com/Kofi Ford, YouTube.com/Kofi Ford. So it's all very simple for people to reach out and connect with me. But definitely look forward to connecting with folks online. And I even do a Periscope. I used to do them every day, but I do Periscopes as well. And each one of those has one little nugget to talk about for anywhere from 5 minutes to as many as 30 minutes in length that people can tune into.
Wow, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Are you on Instagram and Twitter?
I am on Instagram. Instagram and Twitter are both, the same website, Instagram.com or Twitter.com/Kofi Ford.
Kofi Ford. Okay. Man, it has been an awesome conversation with you. I mean, you really hit some awesome points. For anyone, needing transformation, I mean, everybody can get something from what you said. This is a life application of principles and good things to live by, man. You've actually, you've reached a lot of souls and touched a lot of people, man, just from this message.
Awesome.
Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I love it. I love doing this kind of thing. My career, I think, has always been about mentoring or coaching individuals, even if it was just for corporate America and helping them out there. But I love doing just that. I love working with people. I love connecting with people. And there's nothing greater than to see someone that you've been, kind of mentoring or talking to seeing them start to hit new levels of life that they've always dreamed of having. They just needed an avenue. They needed somebody to believe in them. They needed somebody to show them the way. That's, I think, the case with a lot of people. They need someone sometimes just to tell them that, you can do this. And it's amazing what happens when someone believes in themselves after that. So, I love that. I love to connect with anybody who's interested in making that transformation.
All right. Thanks, Kofi. Thank you for kicking it with Keith C.
Oh, man, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Keezy.
All right.